The following is a presentation from PokerStars.com. Last night on the Big Game, Nadya Magnus, the single mom and online qualifier, faced the biggest decision of her poker playing life.
Getting paranoid over here.
With young pro Joe Cassidy staring her down, Nadya didn't blink, made a $30,000 bet, and raked in another pot.
We forgot to warn you, Joe. Sorry about that. Welcome to again.
Can she keep it up, or have these pros seen enough? The Big Game starts now.
This is the PokerStars.com Big Game.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the Big Game in Las Vegas. Alongside Joe Stapleton, I'm Chris Rose. Welcome to our state-of-the-art poker room where some of the best poker players in the world have nearly $700,000 already on the felt.
23-year-old Justin Bonomo is killing the game so far. Let's see if he can continue his hot run. He's up a cool $77,000.
The Robin Hood of poker, Barry Greenstein, is down just over $13,000 and looking to steal some of his chips back from the young guns.
Youngins like Jason Mercier, who's won 9 live tournaments in the past 2 years, he's down just over $2K.
Next to him is a young pro from Los Angeles, Joe Cassidy. He came late to this party, has seen just 6 hands, but is stuck $60K.
And this is cash game specialist Daniel Negreanu. He's having a good week, up over $14,000.
But the big story is Nadya Magnus from Palatine, Illinois. The single mom was staked $100,000. Right now, the most profitable loose cannon is with Amanda Leatherman.
Nadya, I'm so happy for you. You're up $71,000. How could this change your life for you and your son?
It'll be something tremendous. You know, it feels pretty insane just to think that I could walk away with this crazy amount of money. It would, you know, it could change a lot of things.
So right now, is this enough for you? $71,000. Are you going to slow down, or are you going to keep doing what you're doing?
Can I take the fifth on that? Because I still have to go back to the table.
You can. Good luck, okay?
Thank you so much.
Like all loose cannons, Nadya has been staked $100,000 and keeps all profits above the initial $100,000. At the end of the season, the loose cannon who wins the most money earns a North American Poker Tour passport worth $50K.
Welcome back, Loose Cannon.
Oh, thank you so much.
You know, when they first introduced this concept, I was thinking, kind of neat giving $100,000 away every show. And then they brought in Nadya.
Stop it.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
Nadya will start on the button, so the action begins with Jason Mercier, who folds. So does Joe Cassidy. Danny Negreanu. Queen Trey, out of the way. Now Nadya on the button with a pocket pair.
Nadya pleaded the fifth. Let's see if she gears down or keeps this bus moving above 55 miles an hour.
She revs ahead, raising to 1,400.
Raise.
A re-raise announced by Justin Bonomo to 5,000.
Justin's trying to isolate Nadya.
Barry with 10-9 suited.
Barry's probably onto the fact that Justin is trying to isolate the loose cannon. He has a way of sniffing out weakness. 10-9 suited. Suited connector is a pretty powerful hand if played properly.
Barry re-raises to 16,000.
Barry makes a power move with it. Nadya's being railroaded a bit here. 90% of players would fold this hand. The other 10% would usually be making a mistake. She does have the best hand right now.
She's in the 90%.
Now Justin has a decision to make. Nobody likes to give up 5,000 when they think someone's making a play at them. With Nadya, you can be pretty sure she wasn't making a move, but with Barry, not so much. Justin is looking at Barry's stack to see if he has the right implied odds of the call. What he doesn't know is that he has Barry dominated.
And Justin folds.
And he doesn't look very happy about it.
Barry takes down the first pot.
I actually had a hand.
I don't think you're going to get any sympathy from Barry the Bully.
Well, here are the rules of the big game. Each table lasts exactly 150 hands. The action pre-flop is pot limit, then no limit after the flop. Blinds are 2 and 400 with a $100 ante, all of which is paid by the player on the button. Each player begins with at least 100 grand, but can reload for up to $500,000. Joe Cassidy is facing a deficit. He joined the table last night and got crushed. King, queen suited.
Pretty strong hand, even from first position.
Raises to 1,400. Danny Alai, small pocket pair.
1,400.
Makes the call. Nadya folds. Pocket pair for Justin Bonomo calls. Barry calls as well. Ace-5 suited for Jason Mercier, a 5-person party.
Why not, says Jason. Nadya decides to sit this one out, let the pros cannibalize each other for a change.
First flop of the evening. 8-6. Barry checks. Jason checks. Joe checks.
Danny may like his hand with a pair on this board.
Danny comes out firing, 4,400.
4,400.
If Danny likes his hand, Justin should like his a bit more. Only one overcard out there for him.
Justin calls. Barry folds. Jason folds. And Joe folds.
Bonomo is ahead.
So from 5 on the flop, down to just 2 on the turn. Ace of clubs.
Now, of course, Danny's wondering if his threes are good, but more importantly, he's wondering if Justin will fold to another bet.
Danny checks. Justin checks.
Justin checks behind. He might like his hand, but he doesn't want to get raised.
6 of spades on the river. Danny checks. Justin checks.
Threes.
And Justin takes down a pot.
Nice.
Danny appreciates a polite poker player. Justin may have beat him in a pot, but at least he said thank you.
That's Danny's specialty. Justin's specialty this week has been raking in pots. He has been super aggressive. Really enjoyed watching him play.
We've been watching his stack get higher and higher every day.
Ace-7. Danny opts not to play. Nadya. Second time in 3 hands, pocket 8s.
Let's see if she fares a little better this time with the snowmen.
Raised to 1,400. Bonomo folds. King-9 suited for Barry Greenstein.
This hand is well within Barry's range to play with Nadya in position.
Barry calls. Jason and Joe fold. Ah, nice little smile from Nadya. 5 queen, queen.
Nadya has the best hand for now. Let's see if she tries to maintain control of this pot.
She just checks.
Little pot control.
Barry bets 2,000 with a flush draw, and Nadya quickly calls.
Semi-bluff from Barry.
Queen of clubs on the turn.
That gives Nadya a full house and has eliminated all of Barry's flush outs.
Both players check. Ace of clubs on the river.
Barry missed all of his outs. Nadya still holds the winner. Bit of a scary board for 8s.
She checks, so does Barry. And Nadya takes it down.
And another pot to the Loose Cannon.
Nadya Magnus wins the pot. She is playing the pros like it's just another home game. The big game is just getting going. Much more from Las Vegas coming your way after this. Welcome back to the big game, where our loose cannon continues to shine. It was just 2 years ago that Nadya Magnus learned the ABCs of poker. Now she has a chance to earn her PhD on the felt.
I'm Nadya Magnus, and they call me the Silent Assassin. Well, I just started playing 2 years ago. I was on a trip to Vegas. That was a Super Bowl weekend, Giants versus Patriots. It was offered that we go to the poker room and play some poker. So, well, I didn't know really, how to play the game, and they told me, oh, just ask the guys at the table, they'll be more than happy to help you, and sure enough, they were helping me out. And I was just, running really like God, just catching everything. Made like $300 in like half an hour, and I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting. So went back home, got a book, and then I took off from there.
If Nadya can hang on to her profits, that will put her in prime position to take down that North American Poker Tour passport worth another $50,000.
She, of course, dreams of becoming a professional poker player. Here sitting down with 5 of the best. Barry Greenstein looking at Big Slick, raising to 1,500. Jason Mercier folds. Joe Cassidy, Ace-Jack.
Joe could re-raise this hand since he knows Barry's range is wide.
He calls. Danny folds.
Barry's range is a little narrower from first position, hence just the call.
Queen 10 suited for the loose cannon.
There's been a raise and a call, but Nadia's getting 4-1 on her money.
She calls. Bonomo folds.
She is out of position, though, going into this flop.
10 king king.
Barry's flop trip kings. It's a monster.
Nadya first to act. She comes out firing. 3,100.
Nadia's now got Barry's full attention, even though it doesn't look like it. Looks like Nadia's trying to protect her hand and maybe stop a bad turn card from coming out. But in doing so, she's bet into the razor, and she's made a donk bet, which does leave her susceptible to being raised.
Barry just calls.
Barry's probably calling because he wants Joe Cassidy to stick around.
However, Cassidy folds his gut shot straight draw.
Barry's got Nadya in complete jail right now.
The turn, Queen of Spades.
Joe Cassidy would have made it straight. That's why I always turn away after I fold. Nadia's drunk dead at this point.
She checks on over to Barry, who fires 6,000.
Now, Nadya should know that if Barry has a king, she cannot improve.
That's not stopping her. She calls.
Obviously not putting Barry on a king.
Deuce of clubs on the river. Nadya checks.
Barry's trying to think of a number here. They should call this kind of decision giving someone your phone number because you definitely want to get called.
He bets 15,000.
Barry's bet on the turn set him up to make this bet on the river. Nadia's trying to figure out if this could be a bluff. She's invested almost 15,000 already in this pot. Her read on the flop was that Barry didn't have a king. She doesn't want to be outplayed. Let's see if she figures it out that she's beat.
Nadya takes that phone number and throws it in the trash.
Good fold.
Greenstein picks up a nice size pot.
Can you tell me at the end what you have?
Can I guess what you had? And you'll tell me now?
I thought you had 10 jack.
You can.
I think you had Queen Jack.
I think Queen 10 or Queen Jack. Queen 10.
Queen 10.
Cassidy seems unimpressed with himself.
Lucky me. I finally won something.
Why aren't you guys guessing what he had?
Because we know what he has.
We know what he had.
I had the joint. They already know that.
You can find the chapter on flopping the joint in Barry's book.
Danny Alai gets us started by folding. So does Nadya. Bonomo folds. Barry raises to 1,500. King, Queen offsuit for Jason Mercier. Small blind. Calls.
Not a hand he'll often fold to Barry with a button raise.
Joe Cassidy in the big blind, 10-7 suited. He calls as well.
These guys both know Barry's likely to raise with any 2 cards on the button.
9-7-7.
Now it's Cassidy's turn to flop trips.
Mercier checks. Cassidy slow playing.
They both check to Barry continuation bet Greenstein.
And living up to his nickname by betting 2,500.
Now Barry does have a gut shot, so it's not a complete bluff.
Mercier calls.
Cassidy must be loving all the money going into this pot. Right now he's taking a look at that board, trying to determine if he needs to charge his opponents to draw.
Cassidy raises to 8,500. Barry folds,
I almost just mucked.
and a disgruntled Mercier folds as well.
I'm sure Joe appreciates the fact that Jason didn't muck on the flop. It was an extra $2,500 for him.
Well, Cassidy is happy about winning something other than the guessing game. Will this pot point Joe in the right direction?
I'm Joe Cassidy. Well, anytime there's an inexperienced player at the table, that's always appealing to a professional player, and I think that's the idea behind the loose cannon. Also, having them not have anything at risk allows them to make decisions more haphazardly, and then the situations towards the end of the game where the loose cannon is not going to have anything if they end up with 40,000 puts them in kind of a unique position that you wouldn't see in a normal game to need to gamble. So if you know those things, you can kind of take advantage of that.
Unfortunately for Joe, earlier in the week, Nadya took advantage of him. Maybe seemed a little flirty, but at the end of that date, Nadya left him with the check.
Action is folded around to Jason Mercier with pocket rockets. Raises to 1,400. Cassidy folds. King-Queen offsuit for Danny Alai.
Now, even though King-Queen can be easily dominated, it is well ahead of Jason's cutoff raising range.
Danny calls. Nadya ace-6 folds.
Jason's been so aggressive this game, it's difficult to give him credit for a hand as good as aces.
The flop, 9-5 king, 2 diamonds.
Right in the window, Danny flops top pair.
And checks.
This could get brutal for Danny.
Mercier bets 2,100.
Danny probably likes his hand right now. Top pair, second kicker is pretty strong.
And Danny calls.
Danny just calls with top pair because he wants Jason to bet into him again on the turn. At least that's what he thinks he wants.
4 of clubs on the turn.
It's a great card for Jason.
Danny checks.
It doesn't complete any draws, so he knows Danny's hand isn't likely to have improved. Danny called on the flop, so he wants to try to figure out how much Danny will call again. He wants to try to get value from top or middle pair, and he wants a draw to have to pay to see the river.
The bet this time is 5,700.
5,700.
Danny's been led into twice. He still has top pair.
Danny calls.
Danny's in a really tough spot. Very difficult to lay down top pair, especially against Jason.
The river, 10 of clubs.
The river completes both flush and straight draws.
Danny checks.
It's going to make it tough for Jason to get max value out of this hand. If he bets and gets raised, one pair is basically only good as a bluff catcher.
Jason makes it 14,300 to go.
Jason's still pretty convinced this hand's good enough to value bet. The fact that Danny hasn't folded yet tells me this is a pretty nice value bet from Jason. It's going to be hard for Danny to not pay Jason off because of his image and reputation. Jason's the kind of player who would fire a 20-barrel bluff if he could, so a fair percentage of the time Danny makes his call, he's going to be right. Just not this time.
What? Oh, what do you have? Could be that. 3 9s? Maybe. Could be that.
Danny calls and sees the bad news.
Very well played hand by Jason all around. He got value on every street. Made it almost impossible for Danny to fold, and a perfect size value bet on the river.
And with that, Jason is back on the plus side. So too is our loose cannon, Nadya Magnus, who continues to be in the black.
It's Nadia's dream to be a pro, so she's probably living the dream right now, but we're playing no limit hold'em after the flop, and one hand can turn a dream into an instant nightmare.
On this hand, Barry Greenstein, 7-6 of spades, raised to 1,500. Mercier folds. Joe Cassidy, ace tray suited.
Once again, we know Barry's raising range is pretty wide.
Joe calls, Danny folds. Another pocket pair for the loose cannon.
Once again, Nadya is facing a raise with a pocket pair. We've yet to see her back down from her big hands. Doesn't look like she's starting now.
Nope, she comes over the top to 7,000. Bonomo folds.
Re-raising with tens is a decent play, but you have to be careful doing it out of position to really good players. Also, by re-raising, you're building a huge pot. If and when you're faced with a bet, it's going to be a big one, and in all likelihood, you're not going to like the flop.
Barry does call. And Joe folds.
Nadya's ahead and has the lead, but Barry has position.
The flop. Queen deuce tray, 2 hearts.
Luckily for Nadya, this is a pretty decent flop for her, and Barry missed by a country mile.
Nadya fires 9,500.
See, there's that big bet I was talking about.
And that gets Barry Greenstein to fold.
Nadya raised, kept the lead, didn't back down, even though there was an overcard. I'd say pretty well played.
Well, after winning that pot, Nadya Magnus is pretty much back where she started the evening. Justin Bonomo, in the meantime, is up nearly 20 grand tonight. Same with Jason Mercier, who has moved from the deficit to the profits column. Meanwhile, Danny Negreanu has suffered the biggest hit, going from up 14K to down nearly $30,000.
Her Loose Cannon Nadya is second in profit overall. She started out playing pretty tight, but she's not playing timid post-flop. She's willing to bet and raise with the pros. Her aggression factor is second only to Justin Bonomo. Playing this way is beneficial to Nadya in multiple ways. Not only will she win pots, but she'll earn some street cred as a player that doesn't get pushed around and might even do some pushing herself.
Well, Nadya is on the button this hand. We'll see how being in position factors into her play. Jason Mercier gets it going. 9-8 of clubs. Raises to 1,400. Cassidy folds. Negreanu, the delayed fold. Another pocket pair for Nadya Magnus. What's going on?
Last time she re-raised with pocket tens. This time she's got jacks. See how she handles it.
She just calls.
You can see Nadya's changing gears a little bit. This time she does have position.
Rest of the table folds, so 2 players to the flop. 3 hearts, Queen 9-7.
Jason's got second pair. Nadya has the best hand, and she's drawing to the only heart.
Mercier checks, so does Nadya. Deuce of diamonds on the turn.
Nadya may have checked because of the hearts or the straight jaw, but by checking, she's allowing Jason to try to catch up for free. Right after we got done touting that post-flop aggression.
Jason bets 2,200.
Nadya is the overwhelming favorite to win this hand, but because of the check on the flop, Jason might think his nines are good.
Nadya calls.
Nadya's playing very cautiously right now.
The river, 10 of spades. Mercier checks. And Nadya checks. And wins.
Nadya may have missed a value bet on the end.
Nice one.
Thank you.
She might be slowing things down a bit to try to protect that stack. That's her money she's playing with now.
So the Loose Cannons run continues. Can it really last at a table full of pros? There's only one way to find out. Stay tuned. We are back in Las Vegas, Nevada, home of the Big Game, the newest high-stakes poker cash game around. Joe Cassidy, first to act. 4-4. That'd be a pair of fours.
Boxes.
And Joe raising to 1,300. Danny folds the Brunson. 8-6 suited for the loose cannon. Nadya Magnus. Looks like she's going to play.
Forget what I said about protecting her stack. This girl wants to gamble up.
She calls, and big slick for Justin Bonomo.
Looks like Justin's contemplating a re-raise.
There it is to 6,000. Greenstein folds. Mercier folds.
Joe's not getting very good odds to call, barely 2-1. Joe's primarily a limit player, where it's harder to get bad odds to call with a pair pre-flop.
He does call. Remember, it is pot limit pre-flop. Then no limit after the flop. Nadya calls.
The loose cannon makes a very loose call.
9-8-7.
Pretty good flop for Nadya. Flops a pair and a straight draw, open-ended.
It goes check, check over to Bonomo. Justin checks too.
Nadya could have bet the flop, but with Justin 3-betting, he could easily have an overpair.
3 on the turn.
Joe still just got a pair of 4s.
He checks. Nadya checks.
Nadya checks the best hand again.
And Bonomo checks. Queen of hearts on the river. Joe checks. Nadya checks.
This board's been checked to Bonomo 3 times now.
And Justin comes out firing this time, 14,000.
Justin knows he can get a lot of smaller pairs to fold when some paint hits the river because he re-raised before the flop.
Cassidy folds.
Do you have ace queen again?
Justin throughout the week has been getting ace queen dealt to him.
And winning with it.
I think you do. Oops.
And Nadya sloppily folds.
Very nice hand from Bonomo. He got 2 opponents to lay down better hands.
Do you have ace queen again?
Can't say what I had that hand.
Right neighborhood, Nadya, wrong house.
Justin wants to make sure he keeps Nadya guessing.
I am guessing that Barry Greenstein's going to get us going this hand. 5-4 and folds. Mercier folds. Cassidy, ace-3 offsuit. Out of here. Danny.
I tried to figure out
what
I
Release.
have in mind, and I can't really.
Blind versus blind. 10-5 suited for Nadya. Calls.
I'm calling if you're raising.
I don't think your intimidation tactics are going to work on Justin Bonomo.
But they do. He just checks.
Chris, I think he's probably just going to check anyway.
I knew that. Deuce, king, 8. Bonomo hits top pair.
Nadya doesn't have much of anything. She's got a 10 high.
But she's firing 500.
I think Nadya may be off her game a little bit. She just tried to bluff Justin Bonomo with one of the smallest bets we've ever seen on this show.
Justin just calls. 5 of spades on the turn.
Nadia's picked up a pair. We'll see if she gets herself into some trouble now that she actually has something.
She fires 1,200.
That size bet isn't going to get Justin the full top pair. If anything, it might elicit a raise.
Nope, just a call.
Justin's content to let Nadya do the betting for him.
The river, 9 of diamonds. Nadya checks.
Slowing down just a little bit here.
Bonomo fires 3,000.
Nadia's just not wanting to believe Justin could have a bigger piece of this than she does.
Just like so curious what you have.
More silent treatment from Bonomo. This time he's even averted his gaze. If she wants to get a read on him, she should take note of the fact that he called her twice and then bet the river. This is usually an indication of a strong hand.
One more time.
Nadya calls.
I should play against you. You always seem to suck out on me.
I'm not sure flopping top pair with the best hand is considered a suck out just yet.
Well, earlier tonight, we saw Nadya fold a hand that had all the pros guessing what she had. It was a hand won by Barry Greenstein. Let's get Barry's read on that situation as we go behind the poker face.
At this point in the game, it was clear that Nadya was protecting her lead. So anything that she did that looked weak, I was going to try to take a pot away from her. So it put her in a bad position for betting. And on this particular hand, I had ace-king and I raised. I got 2 callers, Nadya being one of them. And the flop came king, 10, which is obviously a great flop for me. I flopped 3 kings. But Nadya bet out into me, which was a little peculiar because normally in a 2 or 3 handed pot, you expect people to check to the pre-flop raiser. And it looked like she had a 10. You know, it comes king, 10. You think maybe with 3 kings, she'll slow play it, you know, try to trap me, get the money I'll bet on the flop. So I just called, kind of assuming she had a 10 and I had her drawing dead. Now, queen came on the turn, and she checked. And I made a normal size bet, and she called. But remember, I was really aware that she's not going to play a big pot at this point unless she has pretty close to the nuts. So I said, is there any chance that she would have bet 3 kings out like king, queen, and now called, and it was even potentially going to check raise me on the river? But it was strange to me that she called when the queen hit. You know, it didn't make sense. So I thought maybe she had 10 jack. Again, if she has 10 jack, picked up a straight draw, she's not going to be able to call me now when I bet on the river. On the river, small card comes, nothing, and she checks to me, and I bet 15,000, which was pretty big at the time. You know, once she hesitated, it was obvious that my ace-king was good. Actually, when she was thinking, I wasn't 100% sure it was good. I thought she might be thinking and then check raise me. She made a big check raise. Even with a hand as strong as 3 kings, I was going to fold because I knew she wouldn't play a big pot at this point unless she was really confident she had the best hand. When she folded, she was still pretty frustrated and was afraid she folded a winner, and she said,
Can you tell me at the end what you had?
You know, I let her know that she made a good laydown.
Barry's right. Nadya made a good fold. She had queen 10.
You know, earlier in the week, Barry pointed out that Nadya looks like a James Bond villainess. Barry actually drives James Bond's car, an Aston Martin DB9. The two of them could star together in a movie. I don't know. The Spy Who Shoved on Me. No?
Okay.
How about You Only Limp Twice?
Oh, not bad.
Okay, here's the one. This is the one. On Her Majesty's Secret Cash Game Waitlist.
Thankfully, I have to get back to calling the action, which folds around to Nadya Magnus. 7 high. She's out of the way. Bonomo, queen 5 suited, a raise to 1,400. Greenstein calls, and Mercier folds.
All right, just one more. Live and let live straddle.
Can we speed up the process to get to the flop, please?
Even Barry looks irritated.
Deuce, ace, tray. Greenstein with top pair checks. Bonomo, gut shot straight draw, fires 3,000.
And a continuation bet.
Greenstein calls.
Probably not chasing Barry out with top pair.
The turn, 2 pair now for Barry.
Bad card for Justin. We'll see if he puts the brakes on.
Greenstein checks. Bonomo checks. And a full house now for Greenstein after the river.
Barry may try to squeeze in a value bet here, but he's unlikely to get called.
There's the bet of 6,000. I think before Greenstein could even get the chips in, Bonomo folded.
He'll take this pot shaken, not stirred.
So Barry Greenstein inching back closer to even. Can he finally get on the plus side? Find out when we come back. Welcome back to the big game in Las Vegas, and a quick reminder that our loose cannon Nadya Magnus only gets to keep whatever profits she has over the 100 grand that she was originally staked. She's a little over 60 to the good right now. Action folds around to Jason Mercier.
Jason Mercier, ace, button, raise, obv.
Cassidy folds, and Eli calls from the big blind. Five, 9, 8, 2 clubs.
Danny's flop middle pair.
And checks.
Jason's flop bottom pair.
And checks.
Decides it's not worth a bet.
King of diamonds on the turn.
After Jason's checked the flop, Danny's considering a bet, it looks like.
Of 2,500.
2,500.
Jason may not believe Danny's got the best hand.
Jason calls.
Jason might be putting Danny on a semi-bluff with clubs or a straight draw.
5 of diamonds on the river, giving trips to Mercier.
Danny's trying to decide whether or not his 8s are worth a value bet. Probably not liking his hand as much, being that Jason called the turn.
Danny checks.
Now Jason's the one who's got a value bet.
Bets 8,700.
This is a pot-sized bet. Jason's hoping Danny has something he can call with. Jason's showing strength, so Danny might read it as weak.
Danny lays it down.
Danny Alai just says no to value bets.
And these two continue to go in opposite directions. Jason is up over 16K. Danny is down over 33,000. What happened to Mercier's castle that he was building earlier this week?
It was once a thriving kingdom, went through the dark ages. I think now maybe the Renaissance.
Looks about the size of Kato Kalin's guest house. Ace-7 offsuit for Bonomo, who folds. Barry Greenstein. See ya. Jason Mercier raises to 1,400.
A guy like Jason will raise with any two from the cutoff or the button.
Cassidy folds. 7-4 suited for Alai.
You'd think he'd want to fold this hand. Looks like he's contemplating some sort of maneuver.
That would be a re-raise to 5,200. Ace-deuce offsuit for the loose cannon. Nadya folds. And Jason folds.
Danny believes in good etiquette at the table, but he apparently has no problem with stealing.
Steam raise.
Steam raise.
I doubt Danny's actually steaming over that one hand. Steam raise is Danny's online handle.
You got it.
Barry folds. Jason sitting this one out. So too is Joe. Danny now on the button. Nice hand, ace-queen suited.
If he's steam raising this time, he's doing it with a premium hand.
Raises to 1,500. Queen 10 suited for the loose cannon and the small blind. Getting a discount. Makes the call. Justin Bonomo, also suited, also calls.
Danny's got both these players dominated. Justin spades and Nadia's queen.
The flop, 4-7.
Everyone's missed. Danny's got the best hand with ace high.
Nadya checks. Gut shot straight draw for Justin, who bets 4,000.
It's an odd spot for Justin to lead out, but it's the right kind of board to do it. It's not likely to connect with either Danny's raising range or Nadia's calling range.
Danny folds. And Nadya folds.
Bonomo bluffs another one. He's been a bluffing machine this week.
Justin Bonomo, the definition of aggressive, and that's why he continues to have the most cash at the table. Can anybody slow him down? Find out when we roll on from Vegas. Welcome back to the big game in Las Vegas. Alongside Joe Stapleton, I am Chris Rose. Nadya Magnus hoping to be the most profitable loose cannon. Win that NAPT passport. Action is folded on over to Nadya. Gets out of the way. King 9 suited for Justin, a raise to 1,400.
Bonomo still trying to take control of yet another pot tonight.
Barry folds. Jason ace jack. Calls. Joe Cassidy ace 3 suited. Makes it 3 to the flop.
Some players would re-raise ace jack, but Jason is out of position.
10-7-8, all diamonds. Mercier checks. Cassidy checks.
Bonomo's flopped the second nut flush with a straight flush redraw.
And bets 4,000.
Jason's also flopped a straight flush draw, but we see Justin has the 9 he'd need.
Mercier calls.
Justin's trying to build a pot, and his reputation for playing aggressively with marginal hands will only help him in these types of situations.
Cassidy folds. So we're down to 2 on the turn, which is the ace of clubs.
This is a terrible card for Jason. He's been drawing dead since the flop. Now his hand's improved.
Mercier checks. Bonomo bets 11,000.
Still building this pot. For Jason, top pair and a strong draw is only going to get him to commit more money to this pot, even though we know he has no redraw.
Mercier calls.
Bonomo's got to be loving this.
Deuce of hearts on the river.
Jason hasn't improved.
Mercier checks.
He'd probably be very happy to have Justin just check behind for a cheap showdown. No such luck. Justin reaching for value betting chips.
How about $30,000 worth?
It's a pot-sized bet. Jason's trying to figure out if this is a bluff or a value bet. Jason knows at this point he can't beat any hand Justin would be value betting, so he has to figure out how often Justin would be bluffing in this spot. Very tough spot.
Come on.
Jason Mercier all in.
Really?
Make no mistake, despite the fact that he has top pair, this is a straight bluff from Jason Mercier. Once he saw that $30,000 bet, he's a pretty good idea Justin is value betting. A check raise in this spot is very strong. He thinks that by making this bet, he can get Justin to lay down almost any hand that isn't the nuts. This is a sick bluff by Jason. He's giving Justin really good odds to make the call, which makes Jason's hand look even stronger. He just happened to run to the top of Justin's range.
I guess you have the ace of diamonds. What's the other card? Yeah, I call.
Base check. Nice hand.
Bonomo wins a pot of nearly $230,000.
That's kind of a good hand that you have there.
And Jason's now busted.
Nice.
Jason got pretty unlucky that Justin had the second nuts. Any lesser hand in that bluff may have just worked.
So after 114 hands, only 2 players have turned a profit. That man, Justin Bonomo, who is lapping the field, and our loose cannon, Nadya Magnus, who has 36 hands left to keep a profit. And a rough ending for Jason Mercier, who was pointed in the right direction at one point, but now he is down 100 grand.
I don't care who you are, you lose 6 figures on one hand, it's gonna leave a mark.
As Jason Mercier reloads, it's time for us to call it quits this session. Right now, our loose cannon Nadya Magnus is nearly 60,000 in the black and only one night away from realizing her dream. For Justin Bonomo, it was an absolutely huge night. He's up over $200,000. How will it end? We'll find out tomorrow. I'm Amanda Leatherman. Good night.
For Joe Stapleton, I'm Chris Rose. See you tomorrow night.
You're doing well.
Yeah, had a good day.
Great day.
Hope for a little bit more after the next session. We'll see.
Don't be greedy, geez.
I'm pretty greedy.
I know.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. And I hope Justin will dump half his stack to me after the...
The preceding was a presentation from PokerStars.com.